are you prepared to host an international student and integrate them into your family? And that word family is really important because we want them to feel like they're part of your family and not just a boarder, someone who's just there to go home, eat, sleep, and then come to school. We want you to integrate them as much as you can into your family life. Some of the processes that happen when you become a host family is that we need to make sure that we get you police vetted, and that's anyone over the age of 18 that's going to be in your household. Lisa comes and does a home visit, and in that information there's some documentation about things that she will be looking for within their bedroom, what sort of things that you have to offer within your home. And Lisa will do that twice a year.
Yep.
So before the homestay student comes and then midway through the year as well.
And when I first meet you as well, I'll ask questions like, what is your day-to-day life like at home? What do you do on your weekends? What kind of activities does your whānau do? Is there opportunity for the students to potentially be involved? And those are questions for me to get a better understanding of, what your environment is like, and then to match you with the student that's going to kind of fit in nicely as well.
Yeah. And then because they are becoming part of your family, and as we have talked about that they're like, you treat them like they are one of your family, like your own daughter, we have would expect that you, once you get the information about their arrival, that you would be there at the airport to help pick them up and to receive them. And there's some little things in there, like it's nice to make a little poster, make them feel welcome, make sure that they feel like excited to be here and to meet you, and that they feel cared for. And part of that is the pickup is also the drop off. So at the end of their stay or during their times that they go home for holidays, that you also ensure that they get to where they need to at the airport. Okay, so it's that duty of care that we have when we sign the contract to be our homestay family. There is some setting up. We can help as well, but some of the setting up that they may need assistance with is setting up a bank account. Sometimes they will already have part of this done, but then they need to take another step and actually go into the bank. And it's good to have an adult in there who can help with that. Please don't send them on their own because then it just gets really confusing.
So all of us apply to short stays as well?
Not necessarily, not with short stays, but more of our long-term stays. Mobile phone, with the short stays, they might get a different SIM card that they can insert into their phone. But for long stays, it's better to look at a plan that they can be put on, and then they can have control over it. Okay. We also have assistance with if you can support them with the purchase of the school uniform. So at the uniform shop, there will be a credit for long-term stay students to purchase their uniform. So that means that you can go down to the uniform shop, they can get what they need there, and that just gets charged back to Marsden. Okay, so there's no you having to get them set up with that. That charge just comes back directly to us and gets taken or put onto their account. We also encourage that they, like Lisa said, they become part of your family routine, get involved with their day-to-day care, set up a space to ensure that they can get their homework sorted, look at what sports events and things that they might be interested in attending or going to or participating in. And also think about experiences that you might provide them as a family, getting out and seeing Wellington or further afield, because that's part of why they come here, is to experience a New Zealand lifestyle. Now, medical and emergency care, we do encourage that you to register them with your medical provider so that if something happens, you can take them to the GP. Okay. In emergency situations, we ask that you use your initiative and do what you need to do, and then contact us if it's an emergency. But for things like going to the GP, getting antibiotics, we ask that you take them to your GP. If they're at school and they become unwell, that we do have a nurse on site, and the nurse will be contacted, and then you will be contacted as the main carer to come and collect them. Okay, because as we said, you are effectively their caregiver for the time that they're here, and if that was your child, you would take them home, look after them, ensure that they're safe and well. And of course, there is a financial contribution to you for having hosting a student. And that has just gone up this year, so it is $450 per week. Okay. Any questions? Any questions like that? So, what's going to happen in 2025 when we start the year? Because we have some students that are coming in for the start of the year. Host families will welcome the students at the airport when they arrive in the country, and make them feel welcome. Take them home, get them set up. And in the information booklet there that you've got, there is information about what to do in the first few days and what you can do to help them settle in and make them feel at home, because it's overwhelming. It's going to be really overwhelming for them. And you just need to take some time, a little bit of care and encouragement. Things like asking them what sort of food that they might like you to have in the cupboard for them, and just asking them a few questions every day.
I can also share a bit of a homestay document. So the way we've always operated with our kind of homestay students, and I find that it's the easiest way to go about it, is to have everything kind of laid out for them at the very beginning. So we've got a bit of a booklet. So just around our house, where things are, laundry, dishes, bathroom, cleaning, like all the things that you as a parent do and your children probably benefit from you doing, and they probably don't realise until they're a little bit older that, oh my goodness, this is what mum and dad do around the house. You've got to keep in mind these students will probably be in the same situation where they've had parents do a lot of the stuff for them. So I've got a template, and you can jot in your routine, the way you want to do things around the house, and have it printed out. It's got our Wi-Fi password. It's got where the snacks are, how to use the microwave. All of that details kind of into a booklet, so I can share that with you as well.
Okay. So those are all the sort of things that we would encourage you to do. Our international students arrive and get their ID and orientation material on Friday the 24th of January. That's for our new students coming in who haven't been here before. And that's an important day, just to come in, get a little bit of an orientation. We try not to overload them with too much information, because that will come on the first day of school. So we're trying to just ensure that they have a sense of who we are, where we are, and who are the people that they need to know in the time that they're here, and that they can go to for support. As I talked about before, AFI time will be with the International Dean, and that International Dean is the person who is going to support this, support our students on Friday the 24th of January when they come in. And that time is when we only have all our new students to Marsden. And the POFITI is on Monday the 27th of January, so we encourage everyone, including families, to come to that. And that's where we welcome all our new students from preschool to year 13 on that first day of school. Really exciting this year that we want to try and encourage some more international gatherings around some things to do in Wellington. So we're looking at planning on our first, for our first international organised event, is that we might go down to the waterfront, walk along the waterfront, walk into the city, walk up Cuba Street and do some chocolate making at Wellington Chocolate Factory as a fun activity. But just to get them a little bit orientated with what's in Wellington and where they can go. For students, it's really good for them to also get snapper cards, so that when they get a little bit braver, they can become a little bit more independent as well. Really exciting this year as well is that we've got Franca, who has been with us now for
2 years,
2 years and is living with Lisa. At the moment, she has been announced as our U13 international student leader, and we're hoping that we can really develop that role this year and make sure that Franca is supported with some of the things that she can do to support our new international students as they come in. And as I said here, termly events, we're looking at how we can, what we can do to just get students used to living in Wellington. What are the things that they need? And where are the places that they need to know that they can go to? So those events will be confirmed and hopefully calendarised by the end of this year. That's what the plan is. Okay. All right. Any questions?
Just go back to language.
Yes.
What sort of level do the girls likely have before they come to New Zealand? I could imagine there's some real challenges there.
There can be, yes.
Yeah.
So I always interview all the students before they come. And most of them in an interview situation, especially if it's across Zoom, you need to give them time to think and process because it's not automatic for them. So they're trying to think and put their words in order. So it's more about giving them time to process what you've asked them. Another really good thing to do, but try not to rely on it, is if you've got a Chinese student in particular, WeChat is really, really helpful because it will automatically translate for you. So you can communicate through that if you get really stuck. But what we do want is that they're immersed in an English environment and that you're encouraging that conversation. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Should we be giving us some spending money or pocket money, or will they give it themselves?
They will have that. So their families will be providing them with the bank account that they have. Most of them have a little debit card that they use and they get an allowance fortnightly or weekly. What does Franca have?
So each student is different. So some of the students will be allowed to have a part-time job when they get to a certain stage or a certain grade. For our student, Franca, she does get pocket money from her family as well. However, what we have done is we have spoken to the parents just about what is an acceptable amount for pocket money. There are some very culturally different backgrounds where $50 might be acceptable, but I've also had students who've had $700 a week, which their parents thought was acceptable. So it's finding some common ground. But what I've done is I actually did a bit of a financial breakdown because it's also a learning opportunity for these students as well. And I've actually asked the parents to minimise the pocket money so that the students also have the autonomy to go out and actually earn money. So previous students we've have had part-time jobs at New World. Franca likes to babysit, so she will ask and say, do you need to go out this week or this weekend, or are you doing anything this Friday? Do you want me to look after the kids? So, we encourage that. And she's if you meet her, she has just blossomed so much since coming here. She was incredibly shy. I don't speak Chinese. My husband doesn't speak Chinese. And so for us, it was also a huge language barrier. But if you speak to her now, she's very eloquent. She's very, very articulate and a lot more confident. So I do encourage for you guys to also have the same kind of conversation and say, look, Kiwi Kiwi families don't give out, pocket money to that extent. If you want to make money, if you want to earn money, then you actually need to get a part-time job, and that's the reality. So for Franca at the moment, she is wanting to do her learner's test, and so she was looking at the cost and looking at how much it was going to be, and she was kind of working out how many babysitting shifts she'd need to do to kind of cover that cost. So, all of those things are life skills that they will utilise later on.
The only thing about if they do decide to get a part-time job, say like working in New World, they do need to get an adapted visa.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. So if your student is of an age where they want to start getting a part-time job and work, then we need to, Lee is the person that you probably need to contact so that we can organise to get the visa changed.
Is that a given? Does the government accept that? If the applicant's successful?
To be honest, and since I've been here, we haven't come across anyone who's had to do that. But Lisa,
there are some limits to it. So the visa does outline a maximum number of hours that students are permitted to do, but also it does outline that the school has to approve it. So previously with students, when we did have lots of students, it was based on, are they actually performing at school and can they take time away from school to have a part-time job? So those were kind of the conversations we had, and actually in the end it worked out to be a bit of a motivator for some students. They wanted to have that social life outside of school and interact with people and speak more English, but not in a school environment with friends where they're feeling a little bit more self-conscious about it. So there are, it motivates them to do better at school so that they've got the grades to be able to do a part-time job. And even then it was a maximum of, I think it was 15 hours.
Is all the communication with the parents via the school, or is it direct? About having that discussion.
Good question. So part of your information in there is that we try and ensure that the communication is via you as the main caregiver while they're in your care. We have also asked that you are put on to Operu as an email contact, because quite often what we've found in the past is that's going straight directly to the parents in China who actually have no understanding of what that means. So we've asked that Homestay families, parents, have one email contact on Operu, so that things like if they're going out for a school trip, that information goes directly to you. We also ask that communication around parent-teacher interviews, all those sorts of things also go to you. But we would, the understanding is that that information then gets relayed to the family as well. So we will give you information around how to contact the family via email, WeChat, WhatsApp, whatever is the easiest form of communication. And if you need support to that, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. And if you're having trouble communicating with the student's family, then please let us know.
Okay. Do we come to the teachers' parents conference?
Yes. Yeah. We would encourage that you do that so that you have an understanding of that your students' needs, and particularly at school. Okay. Cool. And that's everything for tonight. Unless there's any other questions that you have. As we said before, it's rewarding, especially if you make them part of your family, which is what we want them to feel, and that you care for them just like you would one of your own children. Okay. All right. If you've got any questions, see Lisa. Lisa has worked in this role for a few years now and has a lot of experience. And Natasha as well. Natasha's been a homestay parent for how many? I don't know. 3 years? 3 years? 3 years? 4 years.
Yeah,
My husband, and Ophelia. Yeah.
Ophelia's doing great too.
Which is
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's doing really well. Okay. And like I said, the most important thing is to know that you can contact myself, Lisa, Lee, Lauren, to if you have any concerns or anything. Lauren would probably be more around academic, school life. She would be your first point of contact. If you've got issues with Homestay, contact Lisa, or if you've got some concerns or some worries, or if you
Need to vent.
yeah,
Even.
or if you want to ask Lisa questions, she's more than happy to do that. Or if you get stuck, your family has a family emergency somewhere, but your homestay student can't come with you, then you need to contact Lisa and let her know, because there are ways that we can make that work.
And if you are, planning to be away and you and the student isn't going to be joining you, you just need to let me know and I can coordinate a short-term stay for the student as well.
Does the students typically go home during school holidays?
To the families that I've spoken to, I generally encourage that the students stay for the first year.
Yeah.
Previous years, we've had students go home over the July holiday, which is a 3-week break. But what I found is with a lot of the students that do that, especially in their first year, they come back and a lot of the stuff that they've gained, especially in the language, has declined. So they have a lot of catching up to do again once they do come back. So if they can hold out for that first year, I do encourage that they stay for the full year, and then they do tend to go home straight after exams, which is a lot earlier. So Franca left yesterday and Ophelia left today. So yeah.
And sometimes the families do come out for that July break. They will come and they will stay somewhere together, or they will do some activities together.
Yeah. We also, like with Franca this year, her mum flew over in the July break. And so we were encouraging her to join an international student holiday program as well, which is, a whole bunch of international students from around the country getting together to go on tours. So they do, a 10-day South Island tour or a 10-day North Island tour. And she was looking at that, but then when her mum was coming, she decided to go with her mum and do that same tour with a separate tour group within the same company. So there are opportunities there, and it's good to encourage them to explore the country as well.
Yeah, and some of those I've just received some posters of around some information for next year around those trips, those international student trips. So I will hand those on to Lauren, who can share those with the girls. Okay. Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming.